Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us back here at Soligenix's channel. We have another special interview for you guys as we sit here with Dr. Rick Straube, the Chief Medical Officer of Soligenix. Like I said, we're going to dive into a news release, but first and foremost, let's get to know Dr. Straube a little bit. Rick, how are you doing today? You ready to get into it?
Very good. Thank you for inviting me.
Perfect. Glad to have you on. Can you kick us off by just giving us a brief introduction to you, your background, and your role at Soligenix?
Sure. I started my career at the University of California, San Diego Medical School, and for the last 35 years have been designing, conducting, and interpreting the results of clinical trials in a variety of biotech companies. I've been here with Soligenix for about the last 8 years, and really was excited about coming to work on a number of the programs they had going on here, including what we're going to talk about today, our HyBryte product. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. So let's dive into it then. So the news release is the HyBryte phase 3 flash study for the treatment of cutaneous T-cell lymphoma published in JAMA Dermatology. So obviously, everybody, we do implore you to go read the news release yourself and let us know your feedback. But here, Rick and I, let's walk through this a little bit for people. So first and foremost, can you give me just a brief background on Flash and HyBryte?
Sure. HyBryte is an ointment that delivers a drug called synthetic hypericin. We apply it topically on the skin of the lesions that are seen in cutaneous T-cell lymphoma, also known as CTCL. After the drug is absorbed by the cancer cells for about 24 hours, we shine a fluorescent light. It's pretty much the same type of light that's probably over your head right now, but a little more intense and a little more quantitative. That in turn, once we activate the drug, kills the cancer cells. And that's the whole purpose of the treatment. The treatment itself has been tested in a clinical trial, as you mentioned, called the FLASH trial. That's fluorescent light activated synthetic hypericin. That's what the FLASH stands for. It's important to realize that this was a very large study. It's the largest placebo randomized controlled trial ever done in CTCL. And it showed that treatment with this combination of drug and light reduced the size of the tumors statistically better than doing nothing at all in 6 weeks. Importantly, if you continue therapy, the amount of response and the duration of response dramatically increased.
Wonderful. Yeah, we did quite a few videos on HyBryte and talking about the promise of it so far. But I'm curious, when it comes to this news release, tell me about the significance of it being the publication in JAMA Dermatology.
Sure. We're very pleased that the results are being published in the JAMA Dermatology journal. This is one of the most prestigious journals in the field, basically. And the fact that they accepted this manuscript, I think, really underscores the importance of these results in treating these sorts of patients. Additionally, the journal itself is targeted at those healthcare professionals that actually deal with the patient, so that by giving them the information directly, all the information, not just the highlights that you sometimes see in the press release, it gives them the opportunity to discuss this treatment with their patients and make an intelligent choice as whether or not this is the right therapy for them.
Roger that. So it's very thorough then, I imagine. So kind of capping us off on this, who was involved in this trial?
Well, I think it's important to realize that any of the large clinical trials are very complex to run, to complete on time, and to get the results in a very rigorous fashion. We've been very fortunate to have an outstanding group of collaborators. First, pretty much all of the important key opinion leaders in this field have been involved with the trial in one form or the other. Many have helped design the trial. Certainly a large number of these individuals enrolled patients into the trial. We had several important evaluators for looking at specific endpoints in the trial. And finally, we've had a lot of help in interpreting the results of these trials. Second thing that I think is important to point out is that this is an orphan disease. There's not a lot of patients out there, and finding those patients and letting them know that a trial was available was key in making this happen. We've been very grateful to the Cutaneous Lymphoma Foundation, the CLF, which reached out to its membership. Most patients who have CTCL belong to this organization, and the CLF actually provided the information on the clinical trial in a fair amount of depth so the patients could evaluate whether or not they were willing to participate in this sort of trial. And then obviously, finally, we had some great patients. Again, it's important to realize that involvement in a clinical trial like this is a huge commitment on the part of the patient. They know that there is a potential that they will have absolutely no personal benefit from participating, and yet they were willing to actually do a fairly rigorous clinical trial with a lot of evaluations, which is above and beyond their normal healthcare, in order to make sure that they had the potential of helping determine whether or not this would become a real treatment option for other patients with this long-term cancer.
Wonderful. And kind of looking at what's coming next, how do you feel the reception was on the results, and what's the expectation overall for drug approval from here?
Sure. Well, first of all, we've been really, really happy with the sort of excitement the clinicians, both who have been involved with the study and some that have just looked at the results already, have had about the trial. Although there's lots of new trials being done in CTCL, almost all of them are being done in late stage disease. That's the stage which tends to be very rapidly fatal. Not a lot of patients in that group. HyBryte, on the other hand, is targeted to the vast majority of patients that have early stage disease, and they are likely to stay early stage for years to decades. So clinicians are really excited about the potential of getting a new treatment option. This will be the first one that they actually have seen in the last 2 decades. So it's considered a fairly important option in the future, provided the drug is approved. Again, we are putting a new drug application to the FDA later this year. It is the FDA. We never know for sure whether or not they will approve it. We believe that the data that we're going to present is very solid, and we're confident that they will agree with us and allow us to go ahead and market this drug.
Perfect, doctor. Well, thank you for coming on and providing insight on this news release. Everybody, we do implore you to go read it as well. And if you have any questions, please report back. But doctor, any closing words for people before we go?
No, other than thank everyone that has been involved with this trial.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Doctor, thank you for your time and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.